On a bright and sunny Saturday, the Thompson family decided to visit the renowned MegaLand Amusement Park, known for its sprawling landscapes filled with magical lands and thrilling rides. 5-year-old Johnny and his 6-year-old sister Sarah were buzzing with excitement, their eyes wide as saucers at the sights before them. Johnny, at 5 years old, is a bundle of curious energy with a love for all things adventurous, especially dinosaurs. He's got a round, cheerful face framed by a mop of curly, sandy hair that always seems to have a life of its own, no matter how much his mother tries to tame it. His eyes are a bright, inquisitive blue, often wide with wonder at the world around him. Johnny's favourite toy is a plush T-Rex named Roary, which he carries everywhere, believing that it gives him bravery. He loves to explore but sometimes gets carried away by his imagination. Johnny has a knack for finding the most intriguing paths or hidden corners in any place he visits, often leading to little adventures or mishaps, like the time he followed a butterfly into the neighbour's garden and couldn't find his way back. His family affectionately calls him the Little Explorer, though they keep a close eye on him knowing his adventurous spirit. Sarah, at 6, is the protective older sister with a heart of gold and a mind full of stories. She has long, straight brown hair that she likes to wear in a ponytail, and her eyes are a thoughtful shade of hazel that seem to understand more than her age might suggest. She's slightly taller than average for her age, which gives her a sense of responsibility she's eager to embrace. Her favourite activities include reading fairy tales and drawing scenes from them, which she does with a surprising talent for someone so young. She is a child who has always been the mediator and protector among her peers. Even at kindergarten, she was known for her ability to resolve conflicts or help smaller children feel included. Sarah's love for stories has made her somewhat of a storyteller herself, often making up tales to entertain Johnny when they're bored or to calm him down when he's scared. She's the planner in their adventures, always thinking several steps ahead. Together, Johnny's fearless exploration and Sarah's thoughtful guidance create a dynamic duo. Their parents often marvel at how well they complement each other, with Johnny's enthusiasm sparking adventures and Sarah's wisdom ensuring they're safe and memorable. Their bond is strong, forged through countless little adventures and the shared love of stories, whether they're reading them, living them, or making them up. Their parents, eager to capture the magic of the day, suggested they watch the grand parade that was about to commence. Johnny and Sarah, mesmerized by the dancing dragons and singing princesses, followed the parade route, their little legs moving faster than their parents could keep up with. As the parade commenced, the vibrant sounds of a marching band filled the air, playing an upbeat, enchanting melody that seemed to pull Johnny and Sarah into a world of fantasy. The first float to pass by was a colossal dragon, its scales shimmering in hues of emerald and sapphire under the sunlight. Its mouth opened wide, breathing harmless, colourful smoke that smelled sweetly of candy. The dragon's eyes were bright LEDs, blinking in time with the music, making it seem alive and magical. Following the dragon was a float depicting a scene from Alice in Wonderland. Here Alice, in her blue dress, stood atop an enormous painted mushroom, surrounded by oversized flowers and a grinning Cheshire cat floating above. The float was adorned with pastel pinks, purples and yellows, creating a whimsical, dreamlike atmosphere. As it passed, the characters on the float tossed out shimmering, star-shaped candies wrapped in foil that glittered like tiny jewels when they caught the light, much to the delight of Johnny and Sarah, who scrambled to collect as many as they could. Next came the pirate adventure float, where a full-sized galleon ship seemed to sail on waves of blue and white fabric. Pirates with exaggerated, colourful costumes manned the ship, tossing foam swords and pirate hats into the crowd. The music here was a lively sea shanty, with drums that thumped like cannon fire, adding to the excitement. Johnny caught a soft foam sword and immediately began swinging it, his imagination transporting him to high seas adventures. The final float that truly captivated Johnny and Sarah was themed around a fairy tale forest, with Cinderella's pumpkin carriage leading the way. The carriage was a masterpiece of gold and orange, with twinkling lights that looked like fireflies dancing around it. The music transitioned to a soft, magical tune, as if played by an invisible orchestra. People on this float threw out small, transparent bags filled with confetti that looked like pixie dust and tiny plastic crowns that children, including Johnny and Sarah, placed on their heads, feeling like royalty for a moment. The parade was not just a visual spectacle, but an immersive experience where the music, the colours, and the tangible gifts from the floats all worked together to enchant every child in its path. Johnny and Sarah, caught up in the magic, forgot the world around them. their eyes and hearts following each float, each note of music, and every piece of candy or toy that came their way, until they were thoroughly lost in the wonder of MegaLand. Before long, the parade ended, and the siblings found themselves deep within the heart of the park, surrounded by towering animatronic dinosaurs in the Dinosaur World section. Their parents were nowhere to be seen. Johnny, clutching his favorite dinosaur toy, looked up at Sarah with wide, worried eyes. The excitement that had filled his heart during the parade now morphed into a quiet apprehension. The Dinosaur World was a place of awe and wonder, where the ground shook with the footsteps of mechanical beasts. A massive brachiosaurus stretched its neck high into the artificial trees, casting long shadows over the siblings. The air was filled with the sounds of jungle and the occasional, earth-shaking roar of a distant T-Rex. Johnny's grip on his toy tightened. It was Roary, the plush T-Rex that had been his comfort since he was a toddler. Now, in this overwhelming environment, Roary seemed to offer a small piece of home. Sarah, trying to mask her own growing concern with a brave face, scanned the area. The last float had been the fairy tale forest one, and they had followed it, entranced by the magic, until the dinosaurs had emerged from behind a large, jungle-themed curtain. The transition from the whimsy of fairy tales to the raw, primal world of dinosaurs was stark. They were alone amidst the animatronic creatures, which moved with such realism that it was easy to forget they were not real. A velociraptor dashed by on a track, its screech piercing the air, making Johnny jump and clutch Sarah's hand. The park was designed to immerse visitors in the Mesozoic era, but for two young children separated from their parents, it felt more like a maze from which there was no escape. Sarah took a deep breath, her mind racing. She remembered the map they had seen briefly during the parade, but in their excitement, they hadn't paid it much heed. Now she wished she had. She looked around, spotting a signpost with directions to different parts of the park. "We need to find Mom and Dad," she said, her voice steady, but her eyes betraying her worry. Johnny nodded, his small hand still in Sarah's, his eyes darting between the dinosaurs. Despite the fear, there was a part of him that was still fascinated by these giant, moving creatures. A triceratops slowly turned its head, its eyes blinking mechanically, and Johnny couldn't help but whisper, "Look, Sarah, it's like they're real." Sarah managed a weak smile. "We'll find our way back, Johnny. We just need to be brave like Roary, right?" She squeezed his hand reassuringly, and together they started to navigate through the dinosaur world, with the hope that every step would lead them closer to their parents. They found a map, which Sarah unfolded with determination. "If we go through Fairy Tale Forest, we'll be closer to the main entrance," she pointed out, her finger tracing the path on the map. They entered the Fairy Tale Forest, where the air was cool and filled with the scents of pine and magic. Paths were lined with characters like Little Red Riding Hood and the Three Bears. Here, they met a park employee dressed as the Big Bad Wolf, who, upon hearing their plight, gave them each a small badge that said, "I'm a brave explorer." The transition from the prehistoric jungle of Dinosaur World to this enchanted forest was like stepping through a portal into another storybook dimension. The forest was meticulously crafted to evoke a sense of wonder and tranquility. Overhead, the canopy of leaves filtered the sunlight into a mosaic of greens and golds, casting a natural glow that seemed to breathe life into the fairy tale characters. Little Red Riding Hood waved at them from a cottage with a thatched roof, while behind her, the Three Bears peeked out from their window, their house adorned with honey jars and wooden furniture, looking every bit as cozy as in the stories. The Big Bad Wolf, with his costume of fur and a mischievous glint in his eyes, approached with a gentle demeanor that contrasted his fearsome appearance. His voice was warm and comforting as he listened to Johnny and Sarah explain how they had lost their parents. "Oh my, you two are quite the adventurers, aren't you?" he said, kneeling to their level. He then presented them with the badges, which were shaped like a shield with an image of a castle. The words, "I'm a brave explorer," etched in a swirling fairy tale font. Johnny, his curiosity piqued by the wolf's kind nature, asked, "Are you really the Big Bad Wolf?" The wolf chuckled, the sound deep but not at all threatening. "In this forest, I'm more of a friendly guide. You're on a quest now to find your way back to your parents, and you'll need all the bravery you can muster." Sarah, feeling a bit braver with the badge pinned to her shirt, asked, "Can you help us?" The wolf nodded, pointing towards a path where a signpost with various fairy tale locations was visible. "This forest is full of paths, each leading to a different part of the park. You're looking for the Path of the Lost, which will take you back to the main entrance. Keep an eye out for Rapunzel's tower. It's a landmark that will guide you. Every step through the fairy tale forest was an adventure in itself. They met Cinderella sweeping her courtyard with a smile, and Hansel and Gretel, who offered them breadcrumbs as a playful reminder to always find their way back. With renewed spirit, they followed the forest path, which led them past an enchanted castle where Cinderella was waving from a balcony. They stopped for a moment, waving back, but then continued, knowing time was of the essence. Their journey took them to Pirate Cove, where ships swayed on artificial waves and pirate songs echoed. Here, they encountered a kind woman dressed as a pirate who pointed them towards the Lost Children's Station near the park's center. The atmosphere in Pirate Cove was electric, with the scent of salt and adventure in the air, replacing the magic of the forest with a sense of daring escapade. The cove was designed to look like a bustling pirate harbor, complete with wooden docks, treasure chests scattered around, and ships that rocked gently, creating the illusion of being on the high seas. The pirate woman, with her tricorn hat adorned with a skull and crossbones and a cutlass hanging at her side, noticed the children's badges and their slightly anxious expressions. "Ahoy, young explorers!" She greeted them with a broad, welcoming smile. Her costume was detailed, with a faded, colourful sash around her waist and boots that looked like they had walked many a plank. "Lost your crew, have ye?" she asked, her voice rich with the playful accent of a true pirate. Johnny, still clutching his dinosaur toy, nodded, while Sarah explained their situation. The pirate woman listened intently, her eyes softening. "Fear not, for every brave explorer finds their way back to their ship." She pointed towards a large map on a nearby barrel, showing the layout of the park. "You see here, the Lost Children's Station is not far. Follow the path that leads past the Jolly Roger, and you'll be on your way." The path she indicated was lined with pirate flags fluttering in the artificial sea breeze, and the sounds of sea shanties filled the air, sung by hidden speakers and occasionally by other park employees in pirate garb. As they walked, they passed by a ship where a mock battle was taking place, with water cannons spraying into the air, adding to the excitement and chaos of the cove. Children around them were laughing, some dressed in miniature pirate costumes, playing along with the theme. Johnny was momentarily distracted by the spectacle, his fear momentarily forgotten as he watched a group of kids pretending to be part of the pirate crew. Sarah, however, kept her focus, gently guiding her brother along. The pirate woman had given them each a small toy compass as they left, saying, "Let this guide ye true, and you'll find your way." They passed by the Jolly Roger, a ship with its black flag waving menacingly, yet it was all part of the fun. The path took them through a tunnel under one of the docked ships, where the sounds of dripping water and the echo of their footsteps gave them a brief thrill of adventure. Emerging from the tunnel, they found themselves at the edge of Pirate Cove, where the pirate theme began to blend into the central areas of the park. Signs now pointed clearly to the Lost Children's Station, decorated with playful imagery of children in various costumes, including pirates, astronauts, and knights, all finding their way back. Navigating through the space adventure zone with its glowing planets and rocket ships, they finally arrived at the station. There they found their parents, who had been searching for them with growing concern. The reunion was filled with hugs, tears of joy, and promises to stick together. Back at home, as they recounted their adventure, Johnny and Sarah realized they had their own tale of bravery and wonder from MegaLand. Not only had they found their way back to their parents, but they had also discovered their courage, turning an accidental separation into an unforgettable adventure.